Okay, I know it's week 2 of April, however, that won't stop me from posting what I've been doing for the past 2 or so months now, and that's what I watched in the previous month. So, much like last month, I did get to watch some movies, so let's go over those first, as well as a live action anime adaptation. More on that in a bit. So, I watched the John Wick movies, everything except for the first one because I remember uh, the main bits and pieces that are important about the first one. I just wanted to watch 2, 3, and 4 because I remember watching 2, I think. I don't remember anything about 3 or 4 though. 4 I definitely didn't watch. 3 I wasn't sure about, but regardless, I did watch 2, 3, and 4. I also wanted to watch Pirates of the Caribbean series, and I only got to watch the first 3 movies of that. I also watched Treasure Planet. How fitting! It's another adventure-based slash pirate-based movie. And then I also watched the One Piece live action season 2 show from Netflix when it released. So there's that. And I'll go over these in more detail in a bit because let's talk anime now. Now, for anime this month, I wanted to make it Isekai month, where I sat down and watched a whole bunch of Isekai shows. But unfortunately, there wasn't that much. But there's, let me see, one, two, three, four, five, I think. Five, five of 9 shows were Isekai. Now, were they good isekai or were they bad isekai? I'll let you be the judge of that. So I watched One Shot Sister, The Great Chihi, Saint's Magic, both parts. The Saint's Magic is omnipotent. So I'm a spider, so what? Or as I say it, I'm a spider now, so what? You don't have two so's in the fucking title. Whatever. Trapped in a Dating Sim. Something about the mob character. I'll be sure to put a picture of the poster while I'm talking about the show. Out Noah Zero, only the first season. Oshinoko, season 3. Fate Strange Fake, and then My Hero Vigilantes, season 2. So, with all of that out of the way, let's talk movies first, starting with John Wick. So, John Wick, I believe chapter 3 was either. I think chapter 3 was when I was still in high school, and chapter 4 was after, I'm pretty sure. Because I remember a classmate talking about it during the last period of the day and wanting to go see it or something. But anyway, the John Wick movies are really good, fun, action focused shows. Or not shows, movies. And they're just all around really fun, too. Not only that, but there's a lot of lore that doesn't really get told, it just gets shown. And while I'm fine with that, I feel like you need to have an equal balance of both. 4 also does this thing that I'm not fond of entirely, where they introduce a brand new character and have this character connected to a lot of the other characters, and the a lot of the other characters are expected to act as if they've been best buds since the beginning. Like, okay, you couldn't have foreshadowed this character better? Whatever. Um, the entire John Wick series began with the first one, where, spoiler alert, by the way, John Wick's dog and car got taken. So that sets off a huge chain of events, and John wanted out of the hitman business, or whatever they are, or whatever his business is, and he couldn't. So he had to settle a blood debt with the guy who had him give blood to. And he said the target was his own sister, not John's, the guy. So he does kill the sister. But this rat bastard, this motherfucking rat bastard, decides to send people after John Wick for killing his sister because he didn't want to get his hands dirty and say, I still love my sister, but I want her dead because I want her place of power. And I would be a bad brother if I didn't do this shit. I fucking hate his guts. He is the sole reason why John Wick was in so much shit in the third and fourth movies. And it's because of this motherfucker's actions we have the John Wick series now. And that is, oh my god, I fucking hate that character. Holy shit. But regardless, movie 3 and 4 are really solid. even then. And I feel like 4 had a really perfect ending because where else could you go from there? John Wick is done, you know? And I'm happy about that. Moving on to the One Piece live action adaptation. Uh, it was good. There were some changes I was not a fan of, mostly in the casting, but that's to be expected because Hollywood needs to fucking stop. However, there were a handful of changes story wise that I'm like, okay, I can see why you would do this. Because we have how many years of One Piece knowledge to build off of that can be used as a foreshadowing moment or just a Easter egg for actual fans of the series, you know? So, for instance, we get to see Sabo in the background, but I don't know if that's going to be the actual actor for Sabo or if that was just a nice little nod that Sabo existed. Because I believe Sabo didn't exist during Ace's reign. I am of the opinion that Sabo only existed so that Ace's devil fruit could be passed down instead of being used by someone else. But that's just me. Um, Joy Boy got foreshadowed a handful of times. Brook got a full-on segment for a flashback as well during the boon, and that was cool. Overall, I would say season 2 is good, barring some disappointments and changes, mostly with the actors and some of the costume design as well. But, like, they get a lot right, but they also get a handful wrong, and that pisses me off. Next up, Pirates of the Caribbean, movies 1, 2, and 3. These are just dumb fun action movies. Johnny Depp kills it as Jack Sparrow, or, I'm sorry, Captain Jack Sparrow. Super solid movies, and I haven't watched the other ones because I watched these movies fairly late in March, and they are over 2 hours long. Now, granted, I do watch in 2 times speed, but still, that's over an hour of time. Um, and I feel like movie 3 was like the perfect ending for Pirates, so I don't know how they continued it, or how they continued it, why they continued it, probably because of money, or what's going to happen in these movies. Because again, movie 2 and 3, well, movie 2 actually does have some moments that were built upon from movie 1, but movie 3 wasn't built upon movie 2. Unless if there was actual pirate lore that was used in movie 2, or used in movie 3. But movie 3 came as a shock and a surprise to me of the decisions they made. And that kind of made me happy. I'm glad they made those decisions. The CGI holds up. The action is great. The characters are fucking wonderful. Yeah. And they actually do explain certain things as well, which makes me happy, because during movie 3, especially, I'm like, okay, how did this happen, though? And why did this happen? I'm like, oh, okay, good. That got answered. Thank God. So, I would definitely recommend the pirate movies if you want to watch them. Uh, I finally sat down and watched them, so you should too, if you haven't seen them yet. And finally, Treasure Planet. Just a good adventure movie, like, incredibly well animated for its time. Like, super well animated, one would say. And I'm glad there's no real twist villain either in this. I thought there was going to be, but there wasn't. The main real twist was the location for the treasure, and what happened with the treasure as well, slash the events with the treasure. Like, those were the real twists. And I kind of appreciate the movie doing that, honestly. I also really like the main character to a degree, and I'm very much appreciative that his mother still lived. So, yeah. Overall, Treasure Planet is a good show. Or, not good show, good movie. Would recommend. So, now let's talk about anime, starting with the One Shot Sister. Or a One Hit Kill Sister. Um, Now, you may be wondering to yourself, wait a minute, isn't this just like basically the mom isekai? And you'd be half right. This is more so a slice of life isekai, focusing on a younger brother and his older sister, where the older brother tries, or the younger brother tries to be, decent at himself and trying to not rely on his older sister. And it's honestly a cute anime too. Like, yeah, there's hints of incest, but it's like, I personally don't see an issue with it. Granted, the sister is more so a brother con than anything else, and the brother just acts like a brother and doesn't want sister love and whatnot. But overall, good show, very slice of lifey. So if you're not a fan of slice of life, or just characters going on their day to day with no real plot moving forward, then I wouldn't recommend this show. Uh, Granted, there are some things that move forward and some things that do matter, but regardless, I liked it. It was a good watch. Next up, the Great Jahi will not be defeated, or whatever. I'm not a fan of the show, personally. I knew it was a reverse isekai, but I didn't know in what kind of context. And much like One Hit Kill Sister, this felt like a slice of life as well. So the main premise of Jahi is that in the demon world, or in this other world, the red crystals get destroyed by a magical girl. And by being destroyed, because these crystals give these demons power. So these demons got kicked into the real world and are basically meant to fend for themselves. And the only characters we really see are Jahi and the maid, who is a huge masochist. But one of the things that I have a problem with that character is we don't actually get told or shown how she makes her living in the world. Because both her and Jahi came to the real world, but the maid is doing so much better than Jahi. Because Jahi is in a rundown apartment complex run by not an overlord, a landlord who has a sister who Jahi works for at a bar, and she uses her red crystal to turn into her taller form. Because without her crystal, she looks like a kid, even though she's not one. You idiots. Anyway, Jahi felt very slice of lifey and just pointless and aimless. I mean, I'll give it points for being a reverse isekai, but it wasn't all that enjoyable, to be honest. But I still watched it regardless. Next up is a different isekai, where it's the saint's magic is omnipotent. And this is a shoujo, or whatever it's called, where it's a female main protagonist, and basically think Apothecary Diaries, but not. By which I mean there is a budding romance between a female character and a male character. And the female main lead is overpowered to a degree. Um, Two characters actually get summoned to this world, and because of the summoning, one of them is a saint, and this saint is supposed to help these people rid the plague that's been going around the world, or just get rid of the disaster that's plaguing this world. And the saint has to be kept hidden, otherwise other countries want to use the saint's power. I like the female protagonist. She's very cute. The second season poster is a lie. I fucking hate that. But overall, it was a good show. It definitely felt cheap and very budgety in some corners with the animation, but it was still a solid show. Um, if you like romance and if you like something different when it comes to isekai, I would definitely give it a watch. So yeah, overall, good show. I cannot, however, say the same about Soma Spider So What. I was not a fan of this show, and I'm also not a fan of the main protagonist. I thought she was insufferable, because she's the kind to gloat like hell, but then be a coward and back off. But when she finally, claims victory, she gets all, ha, I'm in your face, and all that shit. Like, weren't you just cowarding, like, 2 seconds ago? Thinking that you couldn't do it? Okay. And partway through the series, I was like, huh, I haven't seen a show do this one thing before. I wonder, I should do it something like that. And lo and behold, this show does exactly that. But it does it in such a confusing way that you're kind of lost until like halfway plus through. Because the show doesn't do a good job of, conveying that, really. When the show wasn't focusing on our little spider friend, the show was okay at best. Like, I like some of the characters, because I should say this. This show is one of those where a whole class of characters gets transported to this new world. But it's not just the class, it's also the teacher, and it's not fully transported, it's reincarnated. So a lot of the characters get reincarnated as human characters, but some of the characters don't. I'm not going to say more on that later. Or I'm just not going to say more on that. Overall, I wouldn't recommend this show, honestly. It's one of the worst isekai I've ever watched, and I watched a lot of isekai, but even then, a lot of the isekai I do watch are good, you know? Um, I very rarely watch bad isekai because all of the isekai I do watch, I actually want to watch. So, there's that. Trapped in a Dating Sim is next. Trapped in the Dating Sim, the world of otome games is tough for mobs. So, this plays on otome game isekai kind of a lot. Because this show, instead of having a female main protagonist or just a protagonist that gets turned into a female character, we instead have a male character that gets reborn slash put into the world of this otome game that he had to play because his sister didn't want to play it. And supposedly, his sister also got reborn into this. How, you may ask? I've no fucking clue. So, it's a very interesting change of pace for an Ultimate Game reincarnation story. Not only that, but because of his involvement and because of her involvement as well, this new chick, the story is drastically changing. So that is very interesting to know, because the two characters that are supposed to, be the main, excuse me, focus. I apologize. Are instead focusing on the main character instead of focusing on the actual Prince characters. So that's an interesting change of pace, and one that is very welcome. Again, if you're not a fan of isekais or just a fan of Ultimate games in general and how they function, I wouldn't really recommend them or recommend it, but I would still recommend it to if you're an isekai fan. I mainly watched it because I saw there was mecha in it. Kind of disappointed about the choice of for the main character, but what can you do? And speaking of mecha, let's move on to Aldnoah Zero, which is a mecha show, but much like Code Geass, mecha isn't really the main premise of the show. It's more so focused on war, and the mecha, like, think of it like this: the mecha are just weapons for the people to use to fight, because mecha is cooler than just sword fighting, especially since we've got space and shit involved. So Aldnoah Zero is a good show. I didn't watch season 2 because I heard that it was not as good as season 1. Um, I can't really say much when it comes to not not spoiling anything. I'm kind of curious actually. When did it come out as opposed to the other show I'm thinking of? 2014. Okay. What about this one? Okay, so a year later. So, because throughout the entire show, I was going, huh, the main character kind of reminds me of Mikazuki from Iron Blooded Orphans. But if Aldnoah Zero came before that, then Mikazuki is very much inspired by Inaho, which is his name. Very solid main character. I kind of liked him. And then we have the other main character, Slain. And, I just wish these two guys communicated better instead, but whatever. I'm not going to spoil much outside of that, but good show with a good soundtrack and good action too. And also, the main character isn't really overpowered or using an overpowered mech. He's using like a default suit. The only reason why he's as good as he is because, he thinks and, he looks for weaknesses and shit. Okay, moving on to the 3 shows that I really liked from this past season, actually. Winter 2026, I should mention. So I binged these all in one day within the last week of March. I'm going to start with My Hero Vigilante first. My Hero Academia Vigilante Season 2 was good. I'm questioning why they had Aizawa background, or Aizawa's lore, in for like 3 episodes, when we could have instead focused on someone else. But whatever, I guess. Overall, it was a good show. I'm looking forward to Season 3, potentially Season 4, if they, because supposedly there's 60 chapters that's left to be adapted, and I don't know if they're going to adapt all 60 of those into 12 episodes. I feel like the pacing would be all over the place. I feel they should do 24 episodes for that and just call it a day, but whatever. Koichi gets new powers unlocked, and he's a good character as well. Popstep barely gets to do much in terms of her quirk. She's just kind of there, but she actually is a character rather than just, oh, she's hot, you know? We get introduced to a cute new character who has a really overpowered quirk, I feel. Overpowered slash underpowered, depending on the situation. Granted, I don't think it can evolve past what she can do, really. But I liked her design, she was cute. I'm not going to say who she is or what she does, but she's introduced in the first episode and I like her. Uh, yeah, overall, good season 2. Still better than My Hero Academia proper. Next up, Fate Strange Fake. The prologue special episode came out first, and then this, much, much later. And I really liked it. I do. I am eagerly awaiting for a season 2, though, because it ended abruptly, I feel, but still, solid show. Um, I don't think I mentioned this. I think it was in 2025 I did, yeah, definitely 2025, where I binged a majority of the Fate series. At the very least, Stay Night Saga, Zero, and I watched Apocrypha, and that was it. I didn't watch Grand Order because apparently Grand Order is more so for the gacha fans, and I haven't touched the gacha games, so yeah. But overall, good entry to Fate, and I definitely thought this new saber was actually King Arthur, but no, it's actually someone else. Like, oh, okay, moving on. Now, let's talk about what is probably going to be my favorite or my best sequel anime of this year. And that's Oshinoko Season 3. Holy fucking tension, dude. Holy fucking, my asshole is clenched. Holy fucking, I am on the edge of my seat. This is how you keep going. Like, holy shit, Season 3 is just more, like, it's peak. I don't know how they do it, but Oshinoko just keeps on getting better and better and better, and god, I cannot wait until the final season. Now, unfortunately, I was spoiled on the ending to a degree. I know the fate of a character. I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say what happens. However, I'm kind of okay with the fate of the character because where could that character go from there? You know, and it's also okay to have a bittersweet ending. Like I cannot supposedly as well when it comes to that ending. I'm not going to spoil much, but supposedly it felt rushed and someone said, "Oh, the antagonist keeps on getting switched constantly." I don't know how true this is because I haven't touched the manga, but yeah. But if the main thing is people are upset about this character dying, then I'm like, where could his journey have continued? Like, what more would you want from him? You know, like, not all endings are going to be happy, and that's okay. Like, his entire journey was about doing this one thing, and he got it done. You know, and he did it to protect the people he loved and cared about. So anyway, Oshinoko Season 3. Holy dumb shit. The last episode was over an hour long, so it felt very cheating to do that, but holy shit, what a last episode. So much emotion, so much backstory as well for a very important character. And it ended on a very, like, it ended abruptly as well, but it ended on a very funny moment too. And I don't know about you lot, but I kept rewatching that scene of episode 11 because holy shit. Like, what a fantastic fucking scene. Everything up to that point as well. Like, from the beginning of that scene to the ending of that scene. Just fucking phenomenal. And I can already hear the complaints as well that people would have. And to them, I say, if they consent, who the fuck cares? Not only that, but Japan's age of consent is different than the age of consent in your own country. Again, if they consent, who cares? Leave them alone. Okay. That's my stance on it. As long as there's consent, it shouldn't bother you. So, anyway, that is everything I watched in this past month of March. What did you watch in the month of March? Feel free to let me know in the comments. So, I will be eagerly awaiting you in May as I report what I've watched in April. Currently, I only watched Free Reign Season 2, and my current thoughts on that are this just feels very filler and it feels very slice of lifey. It does kind of feel pointless and boring. Whereas Season 1 was actually good and well paced. Season 2 didn't feel that way at all. But there is set up for the next arc, which I hope is going to air this year. I need to check if it is or not. If it's not, then, well, shit. But whatever. So, I think with all that being said and done, I've been Rikishi, and I'll see you next time. Later.